Hey there. Welcome again to Family Dynamics with Bola. I'd love to say very happy new year. I know it's February, but welcome to the very first episode in year 2025. I am your host at Debola Adeshino, and today, to open up our discussion this year, I will be diving into a topic that almost every parent was faced at one point or another in their lifetime. So, today, let's talk about what happens when you and your partner have a different parenting style. So, we're going to be talking about different things on this series, but today I'll just start off and then we'll continue from there. So, what happens when you and your partner have different parenting style? Maybe one of you is very structured, very disciplined, and the other person is more relaxed and they just want to go with the flow. And as you know, every parent grew up in a completely different household, so different culture, different parenting style. And now you have to come together and parent your child. You and your spouse, when you come together, you have to like negotiate on what to do. You're not alone. Like I said, this thing is common to a whole lot of parents, right? Because we're different, our personality are different, the way we grew up is different, our culture is very different, right? And especially even if you now do intercultural marriage, some things might be foreign to your spouse that is just like a norm to you. So, how, as a parent, should you navigate this, right? So, we've talked about the four main different parenting style. I would encourage you to go back, delve deep into it, and that would just really help you to find where you are. But as we talk about this parenting on the same team, I would be discussing why you and your spouse clash over your approach to parenting your child. And I would also be giving you practical strategies to find a balance because that's where we want to go to, right? We want to find a balance, we want to respect each other's perspective, and we want to parent as a team because when we parent as a team, we're able to get so much more done. But when we don't do that, most times it leads to us just really confusing the child in that regard. And as we continue, I'd also like some of you to share your biggest parenting struggles and maybe we can find some answers to it. All right, so let's dive deep into what we have today. I would start with my own personal story. Growing up, my mom is the super strict, structured parent. My mom retired as a teacher, and if you know how structured and disciplined teachers are, then you would understand what I'm talking about. So she's the type of person that would check every work you do every day. How did you perform at school? Make sure everything is done well. While on the other hand, my dad, the love of my life, was just like, a child is a child. They're gonna be well, easy. So as a child, of course, you would love that, right? You would really love that. So I was just always on my dad's side. And so I'd like to ask you a question too. Have you ever felt like you and your partner are raising your child completely differently? You are not alone. You're not alone in this thing. So I do remember a couple of times that my dad will tell my mom, you just need to talk to a child and that's how you let them know what needs to be done. And my mom is like, some children, they need to be put in the right way. Some children would not just even listen. It's not just with words of mouth. You need to help them find the right path, the right thing for them to do. Some children need some guiding in that regard, right? So I do remember them having those kind of conversations, and like I'm sure my dad would just be like, "Girl, this lady just doesn't understand, but it does happen in almost every home. Because now that I'm a parent, I find myself too in some of this instance, right? But how, as a parent, do we now find a common ground? How do we balance this? How do we find this unity in our parenting? So the first thing we want to do is really understand what our parenting styles are. As the mom or as the dad, once you know your parenting style, the way you were parented, right? It would help you because it forms who you are to a certain extent, right? You understand how you were parented, then you sit down. How exactly do I want to parent my own child? And you and your spouse, you will come together and find a place where, okay, this is who I am. This is the type of style that will be true to my personality. Okay, this is the type of style that will be true to your own personality. How do we come together and make this work for our child, right? So, like I said, the first thing you want to do is for you to talk about your cultural values, how you were brought up, your personal experiences, and how this would actually influence what you're bringing to the table. And as you do that, you would find some common trait. And quickly, let me go over the type of parenting style that we have. And like I said, I've done a deep dive on this in one of the episodes. I want you to go back, listen to it, and then you will be able to find your parenting style. So we have authoritarian. So the authoritarian parent is, when daddy is coming home or mommy is coming home and everybody would run to their room or run and pick up their book. Yes, that's the authoritarian. The warmth level is low, the discipline is high, and that's what we call a strict parent. And then we have the authoritative. So authoritative is different from authoritarian. Authoritative, that's where you want to be. Warm to your children are happy to see you, but you also have a high discipline. They know there are things in place for them. That's what we call like the balanced type of parenting. And that's where you want to move to. But when you know who you are, you will know some of the things that you need to do in order for you to move to the balanced part, which is where we want to be, right? And then we have a permissive parent, the very lovey dovey. They have very high warmth, but the discipline level is very low. And, they're very lenient. Even when they set rules, just, they don't really go ahead with it. They're very lenient. And the fourth parenting style is the parents that are not even involved at all. They don't have discipline, they're not present, and they're just, we call them uninvolved. They're very disengaged. The child goes ahead to do whatever they want, right? So what I would love you to do to make this a little bit practical is for you to really sit down, reflect on your parenting style, reflect on your partner's parenting style, and the two of you will come together to just find a way. Situations where you would defer that to your spouse, situations where you would be the one to just really handle that because that's your strong suit, right? And as parent, the two of you move towards being the balanced couple in order for you to raise your child um, in on the same team, right? So today I'll just love to really talk about the importance of you as a parent to have a mutual understanding in order for you to have a very healthy family dynamic. Because if you don't get to that point, it's going to have a big, big influence on your child. So today I'll just talk about two particular things that I would love you to do after you've reflected and then you've seen, okay, this is who we are, this is our style individually. So, what do we now need to do? The first thing you want to do is to talk about your strategies for communicating to your children. How do you want to communicate to your child? when your parenting style is different without you arguing. So when you talk things through with your partner, you're able to find instances where, okay, this is who I am. I am a strict parent. I am a lenient one. So on matters that would have like high impact on the future, I would defer to you. Even when I feel like you're being too strict, I would not argue with you, especially in front of our children. If I feel like you've gone overboard, we'll have this sign that would tell ourselves, okay, let's pipe it down, or help the kids like, okay, what daddy is trying to say is you guys need to do this and that. When your child see that the two of you are on the same team with their emotions too, right, it helps them to rise up to the occasion if they need to. And children are very, very intelligent. If they see that there is a loophole, if they see that you're not on the same team, they would exploit it. And the second thing I would love for you to do is present a united front to your children. Make it a teamwork over competition. A lot of times, what parents do is, because I'm the favorite of my son, or I'm the favorite of my son, I want my son to still love me more than their dad or more than their mom. You make it look like, oh, I am the one that gives you opportunity to do whatever you want to do, as opposed to this. No, you want to work on teamwork as opposed to competing with each other. You're on the same team, you and your spouse, either you like it or not, you're on the same team. And I know some of you are asking, what if my spouse is not really ready? They don't want to come to that place of balance, and they're just that. And we will discuss that. I know that's a thing that is applicable. On subsequent episodes, we're going to be discussing that. What if my spouse is not on the same page with me, even after I've done all these things? But one thing I want you to do first is to do these things that I'm telling you. Communicate the strategies you're going to be using after you found out how they were parented, what informed the way they act, the way they do, right? And their parenting style. You now know your parenting style, you now know your spouse's parenting style and the way they were parented, and now you have communication strategies, and you're presenting a united front to your children. And I would really love to stop here today so that we can. But I want you to remember something. Having different parenting style should not divide you as a parent. You can work together. You can complement each other when you know how well to handle situation with raising your children with great understanding and teamwork, when you see yourself as a team and not just as individuals, right? Before I jump out today and close this episode, please take a second to subscribe on YouTube and on Spotify so that you don't miss any episode. We will continue with this topic next week. And if this topic actually resonates with you, share it with a friend who might actually need it. Thank you so much for listening. This is Family Dynamics with Bola.